We are starting a new drama named Nine Puzzles. The story starts with a girl named Aina who is returning home from school while it's raining heavily. She takes a bus and heads toward her home. When she enters the house, she finds the lights are off. She starts calling out for her uncle. As she walks forward, her foot steps on a puzzle piece, and as she moves further, she sees blood near her feet. Then right in front of her, she finds the dead body of her uncle, Dong Hoon Yoon. In the next scene, the police have arrived at the house and have begun their investigation. We see Detective Kim, for whom this is his first case. He observes Aina as she is being taken outside. While examining the body, Kim's superior tells him that the deceased was their former chief, and also part of the police department. Kim then enters Aina's room where he notices many paintings. Among them, he finds one that shows an awl, which looks exactly like the murder weapon. Next, we see Aina being interrogated by the officer Hyun Ho-gun. He asks if she remembers what time she arrived home and if she noticed anything unusual. Aina replies that she doesn't remember anything after entering the house. The officer then asks her to describe what she did on her way home from school. Aina slowly begins recalling the details, how she took the bus, opened the gate, and after that she can't remember anything. Detective Kim watches her closely, observing her body language. The officer then asks when her memory came back, to which Aina says it was when her housekeeper called her name, and she saw her uncle's dead body. That's all she remembers. A few days later, Detective Kim shows his report to the officer. They learn that the murder weapon 3AL was purchased 6 months ago, and there were no signs of forced entry into the house. Kim suggests it may have been an argument that led to the murder, but Ho-gun remarks that there's no concrete evidence. Kim adds that if Aina took a shortcut from the bus stop, she had enough time to commit the murder. The officer Ho-gun tells him to interrogate Aina himself. Kim meets with Aina and questions her about her fingerprints found on the murder weapon and also about the property dispute she had with her uncle. Aina agrees that the arguments happened. When Kim asks repeatedly if she killed her uncle, she calmly responds, saying she really didn't do it. She remains composed and then says it's time for her to leave and asks if she can go home. And she's allowed to leave. At home, we see Aina returning and going to the same place where her uncle was killed. She lies down in the same position and tries to recreate the scene in her mind, imagining herself as the person who might have committed the murder, trying to recall what really happened when she came back from school. Next, we see Aina going to the police station, showing Kim the same puzzle piece, and saying maybe her uncle killer dropped it there. The story then jumps 10 years ahead. Aina is now seen bungee jumping, looking happy and laughing. The man asks her if she is going again, asking if she is not bored. Aina replies that whenever she jumps, she feels like she's about to die and that's what makes her feel most alive. She jumps again. Later, she's seen driving her car to visit her therapist. Aina is now with her therapist, Dr. Lee. Aina is telling her about a past murder case, laughing while recalling it, but Aina notices that the doctor isn't laughing with her. Aina then comments that Dr. Lee used to be more fun and lively when they first met, but now she seems dull and boring. She then shrugs and says she probably won't remember anything anyway. Dr. Lee asks if Aina still has dreams about that day. Aina replies that yes, she still does. Then she starts narrating how she found the puzzle piece, how the lights came back on, and how she saw her uncle's dead body. She says, something must have happened that day that I just can't remember. Dr. Lee says that maybe nothing happened at all. That statement makes Aina fall into thought, but she still can't recall anything clearly. Dr. Lee just keeps trying new things and asks her about bungee jumping, explaining that every year, around the same time, she feels the urge to do something like that. It's a sign of regression. The therapist asks if she's socializing, and Aina admits that she's not doing too well. She says she feels okay when she's around people, but once she's home alone, she overthinks everything, wondering if she offended someone, if people hate her, etc. She also admits she's scared of going home. Later, as Aina steps out, another therapist asks if she's attending an upcoming art exhibition, to which Aina replies, maybe, and leaves. Next, we see Detective Kim, who visits a bakery and calls out to a woman named Ms. Yeom, who is working there. She pretends not to know him, but Kim says he knows she returned to Korea after 10 years. He asks sarcastically if he's her husband and points out that she even changed her nationality. Later, an argument breaks out between Kim and her husband. Kim identifies himself as a police officer, but the man doesn't believe him and Kim had to handcuff him. The woman runs in, trying to calm her husband down. Kim then speaks in Spanish, trying to settle things and proves his identity. Kim then quietly asks the woman if she remembers what day it is today, and says it's the 10th death anniversary of Aina's uncle. He then asks her why she came back to Korea. She says it was just a decision she made, and she doesn't want to talk about it. But when Kim mentions that her husband has a criminal record related to drugs in another country, she agrees to talk. Inside the car, Kim asks if Aina said anything strange that day as she was her roommate at that time. She mentioned there was nothing really unusual, except that before leaving, Aina told her she would be her alibi. We then see Aina at the police station, sitting and playing a game, waiting for Kim. When he arrives, she teases him for taking a long lunch break and not catching a criminal. Kim replies that she came at the right time, her roommate is back in Korea. Aina asks what she said, and Kim asks if Aina hasn't kept in touch with her. Aina then jokes that Kim needs to buy new clothes, since he's been wearing the same ones forever, and walks away. We shift to Ho-gun, who is at Aina's uncle's memorial with a police captain Dong-soo. He says that Dong-hoon might still be alive if he hadn't left the police force. The captain Dong-soo asks him why he came back to the same station. Was it for loyalty for the dead man? The captain talks about Kim, who used to work with him and is still obsessed with the case, still thinking Aina might be a suspect. Aina arrives at the station, politely pressing elevator buttons for everyone in lift, indicating that she has sharp memory. She heads to her department where she works as a criminal profiler, but finds no one there. A call informs her that she was supposed to go to a crime scene, not the office. She heads to the crime scene. A 10-year-old boy has been murdered. He lived with his parents and an older brother. The fingerprints found only belonged to the family members. Aina says everyone could have a motive, but another officer questions why someone would stab a child repeatedly out of rage, and still clean the weapon and put it back in place. Aina examines the younger brother's room and sees he was academically excellent. From the older brother's handwriting, she observes signs of low self-esteem and notes he wanted to assert control. She imagines the older brother coming into the room and seeing his brother dead and his parents' reaction. He was more concerned with his parents' reaction than his brother's death, which led Aina to conclude that the older brother is the killer, and leaves. Back at the station, we see another detective watching the stock market on his phone. A new recruit, Detective San, asks about Aina, wondering if she's the cop who once committed murder. A senior officer corrects him, saying no one with a criminal record can become a cop. Aina is a criminal profiler. Detective Kim overhears all this. Their team leader Young-ho walks in, tells them something about the case and asks them to get to work. Just then, Kim receives a message on his phone from Aina sending him a picture of clothes for him to try. We see Aina at her office. She welcomes her other colleagues. She's very attentive to everyone's needs and remembers little details about them. One of the officers comments that although she seems to remember everything, it's not really useful if she forgets the truly important things. Another officer mentions that she shouldn't act like this because others might find it weird. Then we learn that Aina really does remember tiny details about people. Just then, the other officer receives a message related to the murder case, saying the boy doesn't remember anything, which aligns with Aina's own condition. So, the officer assigns this case to Aina, thinking she can relate to the boy. Aina goes to talk to the boy, but after leaving the room, she forgets small things again and has to come back to retrieve them, with her team reminding her. When she finally talks to the boy, she shares with him that she too used to forget things and had been in a similar situation. She tells him about that day, and the boy starts reenacting what happened on that day, how he went home and saw his brother's body. However, he uses present tense instead of past tense while speaking, which makes Aina suspicious that he's making up the story. Once he switches to past tense, he accidentally reveals that he had gone into the kitchen, indicating that he had been caught. He eventually confesses. Back at the office, Aina is praised for getting the confession by connecting with the boy using her own story. However, another officer tells her not to do that again. Aina replies by asking whether they hired her for this ability or just because her parents own a hospital. From this, we realize Aina comes from a wealthy background. Later, Aina says she's heading home and leaves. We then see the rest of the team drinking together at an old hangout spot. Kim comments how it's been 10 years and they still haven't caught the killer. Ho-gun talks about how much this place has changed and he asks about Aina, wondering how she's doing at the station. Team Chief Young-ho says Kim still suspects her of being the killer, and the Young-ho tells him to stop. Kim questions why someone with such a large inheritance would join the police force. The captain suggests maybe Aina is after some information that Kim has, as he's deeply involved in a case. The three of them come out, and when Ho-gun suggests going somewhere else, but the others say they have other plans. Kim then buys ice cream for everyone and leaves saying he has some work. We then see Kim going to Aina's school and retracing the steps she might have taken that day, imagining her taking the bus, and him following her. He ends up at a street, from where if Aina had taken shortcut, Aina had plenty of time to potentially kill her uncle. Next, we see Kim outside Aina's house. The police arrive and recognize him as Detective Kim. The officers explain they got a call about a suspicious person. The housekeeper comes out and says she was the one who made the call, identifying Kim as the suspicious man. While returning, the two officers talk about how obsessed Kim is with the 10-year-old case. Detective Nam talks about how good Kim is at his work and there had been something stuck in his mind. Other officer says that's probably why he hasn't been promoted. Then we see a bar owner named Myung Lee notices something outside. She says goodbye to a staff member and drives off. As both officers in the car, Officer Nam stops the car and Nam's partner steps out to grab something. Nam sees the same red car breaking a signal and speeding away. She wants to follow it but can't since her partner isn't around, thinking to herself that the driver got lucky. Aina arrives home and unlocks the door when her housekeeper prepares to leave. Just then, a biker comes and delivers a parcel for Aina. She asks who sent it, but the delivery guy doesn't know. When she opens it, she finds another puzzle piece inside. She rushes in the house and matches it with a piece she already had and realizes they fit together. She tries calling Detective Kim, but he doesn't pick up. And with that, episode 1 ends. Thanks for watching.